Chris Level here from Texas Tech Football Media Days for Double T 1043, Double T 1043.com with the defensive coordinator of the Red Raiders, Matt Wallerstedt. How much different is this whole process for you in year two? Because we've talked a lot about Coach Kingsbury in year two and all that, but how about yourself?
Yeah, just being familiar with our kids, those guys, seeing familiar faces, our staff being together, for a year now. You could tell in the spring that comfort-wise at all positions, with not just players but coaches, understanding our verbiage, understanding our schemes, understanding, how we go about business and dealing with one another. I mean, it's just the longer you're with somebody, the better it'll get. And year two, obviously for us, not just with our players but as a staff, it's been really good.
All your players understand what is expected of them from a scheme standpoint. You've installed it, you've reinstalled it, you've had summertime now to work with them now. But there's a lot of new kids, and I think that's why you have some, I'm not saying your cup runneth over, but you feel really good about your group.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think game experience is huge. Obviously, you got to get them prepped. We're going to be green in some areas just as far as game experience. I mean, you got a lot of guys that come in highly touted out of the JC ranks and or high school. A lot of competition going on at a lot of positions. We got a lot of positions that have to get addressed, as far as what we're doing. But the fun thing about it is we got a lot of guys that are competing for those roles, and it'll be a fun fall camp for us.
Have you been asked more about your group up front or everything else? I mean, because that seems to be where most of the questions are, because that's where most of the new pieces come in.
Yeah, I think obviously for us, with our struggles in November, we're in stopping the run game, and I think traditionally here everybody wants to say this has been an offensive school, and defensively I think Mike Smith and Kevin Curtis and Trey Haverty and John Scott and myself, I mean, we're here to win championships on defense, and we don't want to be on the coattails of an offense. And we told our guys that when we got here a year ago January, that we're going to win championships here, and we're going to do it defensively. So I think for us to do that, we've got to be able to stop the run. We've addressed that with our size, with our JC linemen, defensive linemen. We do have issues at corner, depending on how that all shakes out. But if our front's playing good, then it's going to make it life a lot easier for our back half.
You say that about your corners. You have an opportunity. It's a weird way to look at it, but you have a sophomore in Justice Nelson, and you're not really sure who the other guy is going to be. But I guess once you figure that out, those two, whoever that is, really has a chance to kind of grow and kind of be a stable force for next 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think the guys that have been here, like Ladarius Newbold and Theory Naguma, those guys need to play now. I mean, you're not going to find anybody that's prettier than Ladarius Newbold. I mean, and fast. I mean, he's a good-looking kid. He's a good body. But Nigel, coming in with top-end speed, with what he's got, he's a fast guy. He's got to sit some games. Michael Coley has got length like Justice, and everybody. And we're expectations of Justice Nelson. I mean, that's really big. I mean, that kid only played down the stretch for us, very limited. Obviously started against Baylor, and then had a really big bowl game for us. But he doesn't have a lot of experience under his belt right now.
Okay, let me ask you about a couple of new guys. Rika Levi, what are your thoughts there?
Just physical presence, and not just his physical presence, but he's been a huge voice in the locker room already through June and July. I mean, if he looks around and sees guys not pushing and exhausting all their energy, he's going to challenge them.
Size equal respect.
Yes, yeah. I think on the front end of that. Plus, he comes in at 366 in the beginning of June. He's now down to 348. But none of our guys, what's been exciting about our defensive guys, the JC guys that came in here this summer, none of those guys quit. None of them were in top-end shape when they got here to work with our strength and conditioning staff, but none of them quit. And that was huge, I thought, just their makeup and who they're all about.
VJ Fehoko added what to your defense when you were able to get him?
Just, I think a guy that just a football guy, just energy, emotion, inspirational guy. I got to stay away from him on the sidelines because he likes to try to headbutt me before he takes the field.
That doesn't work with the old forehead.
He's going to split my forehead one of these times. But you know, just a guy that you know what Texas Tech defense should be. You know, what West Texas fans and Red Raider fans would expect of energy and blue collar and just his makeup. He's a student of the game. I mean, he's already been studying Central Arkansas with their personnel and formations, and that speaks volumes for the kid.
A couple of guys that I think you expect a lot from coming back, that they've kind of really excelled at the back end of last year: Brandon Jackson and Sammy Guavin.
Yeah,
linebacker, defensive end.
Yes, and Sam's been huge. I mean, he's 230 now. I think he played at 218-ish, somewhere in there last year, and was solid. You know, had a good year for us. But I think vocally, I challenged him, you know, right after the season to be a guy that needs to step up and be a leader vocally, and he's done that. He's trained hard. He knows both the Mike and the Will positions, and he knows what all of our positions are really doing. And he's a coach on the field for us. So he's had a really good off season. And Brandon Jackson, I think he's a guy that's gained, I think, 10 to 15 pounds from last year. He'll be more physical, and now it's his time. I mean, we don't want him to be solid. We want him to be dynamic.
Hashtag kerosene right there with Matt Wallerstedt. There he is, defensive coordinator for the Red Raiders, Matt Wallerstedt.